All right, so today we're going to try and unlock the gilded cage of one of Sumeru's most mysterious figures. We're talking about a deity who was held captive, a god known pretty much in name only, Lesser Lord Kusanali.
You have to understand, in Sumeru, a nation that's literally built on the concept of wisdom, having a divine guide is everything. So after their beloved Archon passed away, everyone looks to her successor. But instead of a leader, what they got was more like a symbol. This new god, Lesser Lord Kusanali, was immediately whisked away by the nation's sages.
Yeah, this new god was basically a ghost. She was hidden away in the Sanctuary of Surasthana, never put in the limelight, hardly even mentioned, really. For the people of Sumeru, this just created this huge vacuum. They had a name, but absolutely no face to attach to it. And this right here, this is the core of her story. It's the central paradox of her entire existence. How are you supposed to guide your people when you're a prisoner, and the only world you actually know is a dream? This question defines her entire journey, so let's start to unpack it. So, to really get her, we first have to understand the profound, deep isolation she was born into. She was a god, sure, but she was also a prisoner in every meaningful way.
I mean, you just have to appreciate the sheer weight of the legacy she was supposed to fill. Her predecessor, Greater Lord Rakudavata, was a living legend. Her name was praised in every single home. And Kusanali, well, she was kind of an afterthought, this unknown figure that the sages seemed dead set on keeping under wraps.
And that isolation was incredibly personal. This quote, it just perfectly captures the feeling that greeted her every single morning. Think about it. She could create these bustling, vibrant worlds in her dreams. But the second she woke up, absolute silence. That cold, icy tide of loneliness, that was her constant companion. But she wasn't completely cut off from everything. Her predecessor left behind this incredibly powerful tool, the Akasha. For most people, it was a source of knowledge. For the young god, also known as Nahida, it became her only window to the outside world, a lifeline that, at the same time, was a constant reminder of the prison she was in.
And what she saw through that window, it was just heartbreaking. She saw her people's unwavering love for the gods she was meant to replace. She felt their deep, deep disappointment in her, their new, invisible deity. And she heard their whispers, that painful, constant thought that true wisdom had just abandoned them. But she never argued. She knew her duty was simply to learn.
Now, she didn't just passively observe all this. No way. She actively turned her confinement into a classroom, and she turned her dreams into a full-blown laboratory for knowledge.
She actually developed this really rigorous method. During the day, she would just absorb all this knowledge from the Akasha. Then, at night, she would meticulously try to recreate it in her dreams. And this wasn't just, daydreaming. It was her way of testing her own understanding, finding the flaws in her logic, and then correcting them with what she learned.
And the results were so, charmingly specific. She'd notice when the birds in her dreams were flying wrong, so she learned exactly how wings worked. She fixed shroom borers that were trying to sleep underwater and plants that were growing on the wrong kind of trees. She was literally mastering the rules of her world, one logical mistake at a time. But knowledge for her wasn't just about correction, it was for creation. Once she understood the rules, she absolutely loved breaking them. I mean, why can't a shroom borer have wings? Why shouldn't a crocodile walk upright? Her lonely prison became this private, whimsical amusement park, which was just a testament to her boundless curiosity and imagination.
Okay, so mastering the laws of nature, that's one thing. But the laws of human nature, well, that was her next and by far her greatest challenge. These were the questions that just completely stumped her. Human behavior, it just defied all the logical systems she had so carefully mastered. The beautiful, orderly patterns she saw in nature, they just dissolved into total chaos when it came to people. Her metaphors, her systems, they all failed her.
And this led her to this huge, crucial realization. To truly know humanity, you can't just rely on dogma or data from a terminal. You had to embrace the chaos, the beautiful, frustrating, incredible uniqueness of every single person. And with that new understanding, she started to reach out, not as some distant god, but as a quiet, unseen friend. She would find children who were hurting or frustrated, and she'd slip into their dreams.
And she wouldn't preach or give lectures. She would just listen, talk about their favorite things, and just keep them company until morning. And while their parents would dismiss their stories as just dreams, the children, they knew. They decided this mysterious, kind voice just had to be their friend, Lesser Lord Kusanali. She even tried applying her knowledge in the real world. Get this, she anonymously submitted this brilliant greenery plan for the city, and it was a huge success. The officials loved it. For a moment, she was filled with this rare sense of confidence. But when she went to see her work herself, she found a small, embarrassing flaw. One little patch of mismatched color-changing flowers. She was so mortified, she was apparently seen just crouching by the flower pot, blushing. And in her quiet moments, she poured all of her intellect into another craft, making toys. Using all the knowledge from the Akasha, she built these complex and beautiful games, puzzles, chessboards, incredibly intricate locks. Each one was a testament to the wisdom of its designer. But there was this profound sadness behind all of her amazing creations. Sure, she could solve every puzzle and master any game she made, but she had no one to play with. For her, the joy of creation was always followed by the sting of solitude. So this entire journey from a lonely student to a practicing deity, it all culminates in one final terrible test, one that would force her to define what wisdom truly, actually means. A powerful enemy, one who had been pulling strings from the shadows, finally presented her with an ultimatum. He offered her essential, world-altering knowledge, the very thing a god of wisdom craves more than anything. The price? Her gnosis, the very core of her divine authority. So here was the choice. Accept the deal, make a huge compromise, gain the knowledge but give up your power, or refuse, an act of ignorance for a god of wisdom, which could lead to losing everything anyway. What does a god do when faced with an impossible choice like that? And that's the question her entire life leads to, isn't it? She had spent centuries learning, observing, and connecting, all from inside her cage. Now, she finally had to act. Her answer wouldn't just define her own future, but the very meaning of wisdom itself.